Yo guys, how's it going? We're here for another episode, but this time a different career mode with Montpellier that we're going to be starting on this channel to make it up to the third career mode that we're going to be doing on this channel now. Just something different in a different league, somewhere that I ain't normally going to be with like a top club. Normally do one with like a lower club in some of these leagues, but we are starting with Montpellier this time. Just something different, something to interest me a little bit more. Maybe switch my interest between a few different career modes and then keep me going a little bit. To always be doing something different. As you see here, we do set up this career mode to have the stadium with the actual Montpellier stadium name and stuff like that. I was just scrolling through a couple of stadiums, see which one I wanted more. But I did go with this one because I like to have it with like the same sort of capacity that the stadium does have. But anyway, going straight into this one, it won't actually have any gameplay in this one. It'll be just like the pre-season or any signings that we may make, going through all the career mode side of the thing. As you see, we do sign up for a pre-season tournament and we go through a few of the objectives for the season. As you see, a couple of the ones are about medium to low, so it's nothing that the board really want us to do in particular. They want us to finish mid-table this season. I reckon we can probably do better than that. And as you see, they want us to remain on a 7.45 budget. I don't see that happening because at the end of the day, we want to try and bring a lot of players in. As you see, we go in for a training session straight away, try and build some of these players up to be what we need them to be at before going into the first game of the pre-season against West Ham, a very good side in the Premier League, a difficult side to play against. So we had to. It was a bit of a challenge for our first game. We went out there looking for the win, obviously, like you always do in your first games. As you see, we do take the lead with Laborde, who puts the ball in the back of the net to make it 1-0 to us in the 50th minute, I believe that is. And that is how that first game ends. So at the end of the day, we came out with a win, and that's the main thing. We then get an offer for one of our centre backs in Congre, which we go ahead and reject as we haven't got loads of money to spend to bring players in, and he won't bring that much money in, so we could replace him. So we go ahead and reject that, and he might be a decent player for us. We now go into the second game of the pre-season tournament. As you see, we take a 1-0 lead. They bring it back to one apiece as we try and push on, try and get ourselves them goals, try and get ourselves the win in this game. But they do, in fact, turn it around and make it 2-1. And that is how that match finishes. It means that we're now on a record of 1-1 with this side so far. But at the end of the day, not too bad for us. But we do go into the third and final game of pre-season against Crystal Palace, shall I say. Two of the three teams being English sides, so I think that looks like it's a difficult matchup for us again with Crystal Palace on about the same level as us, but we do go 2-0 up quite easily in the first half. 41 minutes in, we take the lead 2-0 up. Congre getting a goal, which we just rejected, an offer for, and Male, who also we go ahead and gets a goal, and then we bag ourselves the third to make sure we seal the victory at 3-0. A brilliant victory for us before going into the semi-final fixture of this tournament against Wolfsburg, and Congre getting another goal, his second goal of this tournament. The centre back absolutely banging in the goals at the minute after rejecting his offer. He thought, you know what, I'm going to step up and play for this side, and he does exactly that by getting himself another goal. And Laborde is also a player that's playing very well in this tournament, getting himself another goal and putting us 2-0 up. But they do bring one back, but they couldn't bring it all the way back, and it does finish 2-1 in the semi-finals, which we are very happy with. It brings us funds into the club and makes sure we can have that little bit extra spending money in this transfer window. Before going into the final, we have a training session, but the final, as you see, is here against Fulham, trying to get ourselves the first bit of silverware of the season straight into the tournament. As you see, it will be brilliant if we can. At the end of the day, it gets us extra money, and Fulham will be a decent test. He has some very good players in there, but in real life at the minute they ain't playing very well. With Claudio Ranieri just taking over as Laborde takes the shot, scores the goal to make us 1-0 up. But Sessegnon, a good prospect, brings it back one piece. But we do in fact win it on penalties, and that is our first bit of silverware of the season and of the season of the career mode with this side, which is brilliant for us as we get an offer for Keegan Dolly here, South African centre attacking mid. I wasn't too fussed about selling him, as he's a player that you get a bit of money for. You can probably bring in someone a little bit better. As you see, my favourite club in Leicester City come in for him. Club Puel steps into my office to ask how much money we want for him. We ask for 13.5 million for him. They only want to spend 8. We were going to try and cut them a bit of a deal, as it was my favourite club, but we do go ahead and counter offer it. It is still business on my end, so we ask for 12 million. As like I say, we've got to get that money in for some players to bring in. They step up their bid to 8.7 million, but we go ahead and again say counter offer and ask for 11.5 million. Yeah, 10.5 million, sorry. Which they go ahead and reject, as they just didn't want to do that. It's too much money for them to spend on a player. It's like I say, he's only 74 overall, and he gets another offer here again from Monaco, who I don't know why so many teams are coming in for him, and the good side as well were coming in for him. He's only a 74 overall, but he was clearly impressing the eyes of some of the managers, and we do ahead go and try and accept a couple of deals on him, but so far nothing's come of it. Anyway, we get an offer for Amor, who is a young striker in this side, only 19, 63 overall. He's a player that I'd like to bring through the ranks in this career mode if I can. But here's another player that I definitely would like to bring through our ranks, is Zagadou, a centre-back at Borussia Dortmund. Is also a French centre-back, 72 overall at 19 years of age. He looks like he's going to be an absolute tank. He looks like he already is a tank, let alone what he's going to be like in the future. So we do go ahead and try and sign this young lad into the first team. Hopefully get ourselves a bit of youth to start off this transfer window. Get the ball rolling in this transfer window. Get ourselves a new player as soon as we can. And we try to do that by offering them 3.5 million. Instead of, it's 700 grand less than the asking price, the current value of the player. But in this career mode, we seem to be able to get players quite cheap. They didn't accept it. They wanted 5.5 million, which is understandable. Him being such a highly rated young prospect in Borussia Dortmund, that I ain't surprised they wanted more. We go up for his current value to 4.2 million. They come back and say 5.5, and that's it. That's what we want for him. I don't care what you say. But we do go ahead and try and propose another offer for 4.8 million, 700 grand less than what they wanted. See if they can accept this. If you can, they're brilliant. They do come back again and say 5.5 million, which I wasn't too happy about. It's like I say, I know he's a young prospect, and I know you have to spend a lot of money in these career modes to get yourself the young prospects, or any players in fact, to be honest. Like I say, I was about to get 10.5 million for a 74 overall, but we do go ahead and ask for that little bit of money. I was trying to skim any little bit of money off, and they do accept 5.2 million. Like I say, we were just trying to get as little money off as we can, as like I say, we need the money and the funds in this career mode. But we do go straight into his contract. Here, as you see, we try and bring him into the club, get him on a rotational player. As you see, we needed them players in the centre back. We haven't got many centre backs. In the centre backs, we do have the good rating players like 78, 75, that sort of area, but they are all like 30 plus now, I believe, most of them. So we have got to look for some younger players. And Zagadou looked like he'd be the perfect fit. Like I say, being a French centre-back as well was even better. I didn't even realise until afterwards. But He could be looking like one for the future for our club and maybe even the country as well that we are playing in. We'll have to wait and see on that. Hopefully, bring him up as we go through like the rankings of this league. Maybe bring him up to be one of the better players in the team, if not the best player in the team, best centre back in the world, even if we possibly could. We were trying to do that as we offer him £6,000 on the wages with 70 grand signing on fee. We try and bring him in for that. He says no, he wants £6,800, which is fair enough. He is, like I say, still a young player. He's accepting to take that wage cut to come down and play more football. As we reject his appearance bonuses, I don't like doing that at all because it just means you're spending extra money on players that you don't need to. A wage, they then say, because we rejected that they wanted £7,100 a week, which we go ahead and accept. I wasn't too bothered about that, and it does mean that is our first signing of the career mode. But that is all for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you like, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and comments tell me how I can improve these videos. Thank you for watching, and peace.